Hello, this is a second look at the SV08 custom 6 toolhead tool changer that I've been putting together for a rather long time. In this video I'm just going to talk about some of the changes I've made to make it a bit more consistent and to alleviate some of the problems that I had been having previously, and I now think it is in a position where it is functioning fairly well, fairly consistent, so I thought it would be a good time to put this together. So one of the changes I've made, I was having some trouble with the Spartacus tool heads. I'm sure it's not down to the design, but rather my implementation of them. So I have changed to 6 of the kind of standard Sovol SV08 tool heads. It does mean that the offset for the X, Y, and Z coordinates on each of the nozzles is now much lower, where the Spartacus tool heads had a much higher difference. It just means things are a bit easier, so I don't have to accommodate all the extra distances I need to go in the different axes in macros to not go outside the bounds of the printer. The big change that I've been working on is the spool holder at the back and kind of the route that the filament takes in order to get to the tool head, and that also involved making changes to the to where the bird's nest was mounted. So this is quite messy. I have made so many of these cables at this point that I had to move the bird's nest again, and I decided I did not want to remake all the cables and just use them, so they are kind of a bit overlong. But I now do have kind of a break point on each of the 6 the white components. So I've got 6 of these kind of white pieces that are printed, and on each of them I have a breakaway point for the cable for easier replacement, and it made it easier to kind of make all the cables the same length, because I only had to make them to go from the filament holder all the way to the tool head. The main change on the spool holder is that instead of the spools sitting on 2 rollers, they are now suspended by a single roller each. This made the friction, there was a lot less friction when trying to pull the filament through, so I've stopped getting a lot of tangles or filament stuck that I was getting previously. And where the filament now comes from above rather than from kind of where the top of the SV08 is, it means that there are fewer kind of bends in the filament path, which makes it a lot smoother as well. And now I've just got an image of all the spools actually loaded in. It works pretty well, and you can see that I've got one filament, kind of one roller at the back, and then forwards, then back, forwards, which meant I can just use a consistent design for the kind of segments. So each of the 7 standing pillars there, which hold the tools up, and those rollers do just lift out, so there's no unscrewing or anything that needs to be done when swapping out spools. I just lift it up, move the roller from the old to the new, and then place it back down. And you can see here, this is the design I put together for the rollers. So it's designed so that you can just lift the rollers out, but it is angled ever so slightly, this kind of support piece, such that when the filament is being pulled towards the filament sensor at the top right there, it hopefully doesn't fall out, and so far I haven't had any fallout, so that seems to be working. This one I didn't actually need to make this change, but I was waiting on some other components to arrive, and I noticed kind of a CNC version of the stealth changer shuttle, so I did go ahead and purchase that, and I replaced the belts as well, and it allowed me to get rid of the original kind of the belt holder for the original SV08, because it was kind of tacked on there as well, which saves me a few millimeters in the y-axis. Fairly big change is I have added an eddy current sensor to the Toolhead 0, so this is a Big Tree Tech Eddy Duo. I edited the shroud for the stock toolhead to allow me to fit this in, and I have configured it so all the homing and all of the quad gantry level and bed mesh is all done by the Eddy probe now. So this is just a recording of it doing a homing and a quad gantry level. Ordinarily you can't have more than one probe on a printer, but I've essentially changed all the tap sensors to be, as far as the printer is concerned, they're all filament runout sensors, and that allows me to no longer use them as probes and use the eddy current sensor as the probe. And it is much faster and produces much better results. And I do have just a couple of time lapses where I was printing something. Where you see the color of that tool head changing there, that is a tool change. There are about 1200 roughly in each of these kind of sections, or up to about 1200. So it's working very well so far, and the mistakes I had during the printing of this model were my own mistakes and not actually anything to do with the printer. That is the same video again, and here are a couple of the pieces that I printed with it. So these are fairly big, about 25 centimeters tall, so it's printing quite large models quite consistently, and I'm quite happy with how it's working so far. And it's all going quite well. I spent a very long time on this, and also wasted a lot of time, so that's why this video has taken much longer to come through than I would have thought. Yeah, still going well. It's working way more consistently now. I just need to make some changes to some macros to kind of improve the stability a bit further. At the moment, it's kind of the macros are just put together such that it will function, but it doesn't do anything particularly fancy. And there we have it. So thanks for watching.